Welcome back to The Wandering Screen. I'm Matt Koss, and Wicked has finally landed in theatres, and let me tell you, I've got a lot of questions. Here we are, right back in Dorothy's concussion. For those who don't remember, in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's little house got whisked up by a tornado that was probably somewhere between an F3 and an F4. The Munchkins were just singing and dancing blissfully, unaware that Dorothy is one click away from needing a full neurological team led by McDreamy to fix a brain hemorrhage. But hey, I digress. Now, Wicked, the long-awaited two-part film adaptation of the stage musical by Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holzman, which is loosely based on Gregory Maguire's 1995 novel, has finally arrived. Part 1 is over 2.5 hours long, almost exactly the length of the stage musical itself, but this time they split the musical in half to explore more of the characters' journeys. And look, I'm all for expanding character arcs, but this movie is bloated. I'm talking really bloated. I get that we're all here for the spectacle, but for the love of Glinda's bubble, we didn't need this much padding. We kick things off right after Dorothy squashes the Wicked Witch of the West with her house, and Glinda, Ariana Grande, begins narrating the story of Elphaba, aka the Wicked Witch, played with fire and finesse by Cynthia Erivo. Elphaba's green. I guess that's shocking, though I'd argue that once you live in a world with talking animals, a green woman is pretty low on the improbability scale. Elphaba's wheelchair-bound sister, Nessa Rose, Marissa Bode, is studying at the posh university called Shiz in Oz, run by the enigmatic Madame Marable, Michelle Yeoh. Elphaba's magical talents get noticed by Marable, but there's one small issue. She's not actually enrolled in the school, so guess who her roommate is? None other than Glinda, the Good Witch, who is not thrilled by this development. Here's the elephant in the room though. This is a two-part film adaptation of a stage musical. There's no intermission unless you count the pause between part 1 and part 2, when they drop that heart-stopping "to be continued" and you're left wondering how long you'll be stuck in this universe. Honestly, as someone who's been hearing about this show for years, I can't help but feel mildly disappointed that the first film didn't go all in and just give us everything. You've got us sitting there for over 2.5 hours already. There are also moments that drag, particularly in the second act. We get a couple of scenes with the bearded goat, voiced by Peter Dinklage, where he discusses his existential fears of being caged and losing his voice. But beyond that, it's unclear how these side stories propel the larger plot until we get to Emerald City, which takes about 2 hours. Now, this is not to say that the film is bad. In fact, Jon Chu's direction is sublime. He brings a level of care and energy to the musical to film adaptation that reminds me of classics like West Side Story and Singin' in the Rain. Chu, who also directed In the Heights, knows how to film a dance sequence that will have you gasping for air. The choreography is a visual feast, and the practical effects, especially during Fiero's Jonathan Bailey's dancing through life, are stunning. I can't say enough about how well Chu and cinematographer Alice Brooks capture the intricate moves of the dancers, often pulling back to give you the full picture in a wide shot that encapsulates the whole ensemble. It's pure cinematic magic. The production design is also jaw-dropping, from Emerald City to the elaborate costumes. The visuals here are consistently arresting, particularly when Elphaba and Glinda arrive in Emerald City, which is basically a big, sparkling dance party in a water fountain, and some special guests. You can almost feel the sparkle from the screen. But let's talk about the suspension of disbelief for a second. We're told that you need an invitation to enter the Emerald City and meet the mysterious Oz, and Elphaba gets an invite, but somehow Glinda, with no invitation, just waltzes right in, past the guards and into the royal chambers. Like, could someone have just printed out a few invites and strolled in? The rules of Oz are murky. The film presents a Hogwarts-like school system, but I found myself wondering, are these students majoring in advanced flash mobs? Like, what exactly are they studying, and what is the measure of success at this school? It also feels like we lose a central relationship that should have been a media through line for the film. Early on, Elphaba cares for her younger sister, and then she ends up staying at the school longer to help Nessa Rose transition. But Nessa Rose is hardly interested in helping out her sister. Take, for example, a night of clubbing organized by heartthrob, pansexual, absolutely scene-stealing Fiero, played with oozing charisma by Jonathan Bailey. Elphaba arrives at the dance, is mocked for wearing a hat, and she's so awkward that she starts interpretive dancing in front of everyone. The students, which includes Bowen Yang and Bronwyn James's Glinda's bitchy posse, point and laugh at Elphaba's movements, while Nessa Rose stays off to the sidelines and watches her sister be humiliated. As Heather Gay from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City would say, this is your ride or die. Is this what Juilliard is like? There's no denying that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are perfectly cast. I first heard Cynthia Erivo sing in the very average thriller Bad Times at the El Royale, and she was magnificent. She's so wonderful as Elphaba. Her voice is magnificent, and her strength and vulnerability are beautifully performed to show her growth across the film. Ariana Grande, who arguably has a flashier role, is a perfect balance for the dynamic between Elphaba and Glinda. Grande brings her charm and vocal prowess to the role, but what I love most is that we get to hear them actually sing live in the moment, no lip syncing. Their chemistry is electric. But let's not forget Jeff Goldblum's take on Oz, which, let's just say it's forgettable. Goldblum's Oz feels like a performance in search of a character. He wasn't hired for his singing chops, and unfortunately the humor that the character should embody lands with more of a thud than a chuckle. A side gag about how the yellow brick road got its color is just annoying. I just wanted them to get on with it. The film is going to be massive. It already is. It spans across 2 years. It's a total cinematic experience. I just have a lot of questions.
Something bad is happening in Oz.
The best way to bring folks together is to give them a real good enemy.
You have no real power.
That's why I need you.
Don't let her get away! This wicked witch.
You've made it to the end of the review. Thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thoughts on the latest films. What did you think of Wicked? Drop your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time.